Did you make any money last year? It's okay. It's okay if you didn't. Don't be pressured by what you see others displaying because it's the end of the year. My name is Kerwin and I'm with Travel Blogger 101. And my job here is to help you make money with your content creation business. I'm doing this at the beginning of the year, so it's January 2nd, I think it is. And you see everyone is putting out everything like, I made this much money and I'm doing six figures, seven figures, and you will know you're feeling the pressure. And you're feeling the pressure to say, well, I've made this much, and I probably need to make sure that this is recording. Yes, it is. And so you're feeling the pressure to to say how much you make. You don't have to tell anyone how much you make. Um, you do need to make some money though, but don't feel the pressure to tell others what you make. Uh, your business is your business, and so just don't feel that pressure. However, though, what you should do is try to think of how much you want to make for the year. Okay, so I'm just going to do easy numbers, easy figures because it makes it easier. So let's say you want to make $12,000 for the year. You should strive to make more, but just for easy mathematics, then you want to make $1,000 every month. Now, if you're going to make $1,000 every month, then you need to make 1,000 divided by $30 every month, right? And what's that like? 300 and well, not 300. Yeah, let's just say it's about $33 or so, because it's basically a third of 100. So let's say you want to make $33 a day. So what it means is that you need to come up with systems that can earn you at least $33 a day. Now, there are different types of monetization that you need to do, right? And so you need to figure out what level of monetization is going to earn you, your daily rate. Because what happens is that if you don't make your today's January 2nd. So let's say you're done the $33 a day thing, then you should have made $33 yesterday, and today you're going to make another 33. Now, if you have projects that are going to bring in your $1,000 a month, then that's good. You know you're going to be making that. But if you don't, then you need to figure out what I'm going to do now. I have a bunch of videos on the different ways of making money online. If you have a membership site and you're attracting new customers every day, then you need to figure out, well, maybe that $33 is one customer a day because your membership site costs $33, right? And so you just need to figure that out. And this is actually extremely important because when you get to the end of the year, if you haven't made your $12,000 you're supposed to make, let's say you get to June. And so by June, the end of June, you should have made $6,000, but you haven't made $6,000. Then it means that now you have only 6 more months to make $12,000. So the pressure is really much harder, right? And so now instead of making $33 a day, you're gonna have to make probably about 66 dollars a day, right? Which is a lot tougher for you. So you do need to figure this out from day one. And day one is yesterday. So let me know how in the comments or something how you're trying to figure out like what are your goals? And don't make real unrealistic goals because when you make unrealistic goals and you don't achieve them come December 31st, 2025, then you're going to be upset with yourself, right? And you get annoyed because you haven't made the goal you're supposed to make. So if you're in a planning phase and you're trying to figure out how much I need to make every day, pretty much, then you need to try to figure that out. The other thing is it's good to look at what people are doing, um, use it as inspiration, but don't let it drive you nuts. Because here's the thing. People will put online that they made this much money, but they won't tell you what their expenses are. And the expenses are, some of them are not, they're short-term expenses. So what that means is that you're paying them now, but um, they, I guess maybe I should say it the other way around. You have long-term expenses. Um, a long-term expense is like your internet service because you have to keep paying for that over time. Um, Short-term expense may just be you went on a trip and you had to rent a car or you had to buy a ticket or something like that. So what you need to do is to figure out how are my short-term, or whatever my expenses are, how I'm going to make sure that I make money from the expenses. Because sometimes, if you decide, look, I don't want to work with the brand because it's too much trouble. So that means that you have to fund everything. So when you fund everything, you need to figure out, okay, if I spend $5,000 this month for travel, I need to make sure that I make back that $5,000 I spent plus some more. So I don't want to break even. I want to make a profit. So you need to figure out, so let's say you did a trip. You need to figure out, okay, uh, I maybe need to write some articles about this. I have to go pitch some newspapers or some online services about this new article that I wrote. So I went to Cancun, for example, and I want to go and pitch maybe the New York Times, maybe the Forbes magazine or something like that about things to do in Cancun because I just went to Cancun and I know a lot about Cancun because I've been there for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And I want to talk about things to do in Cancun along the beach, go see the cenotes. It's kind of fun when people go to Cancun. The stuff that you do is normally not in Cancun, it's actually outside of Cancun. So they go to Cancun and they say, well, you need to go to Playa, you need to go to Tulum, you need to go to see the cenotes because Cancun is really just the hotels and the beaches along the strip, pretty much. So you need to figure out how are you gonna monetize the blog or the social media or whatever you need to do. And now is the time to do that because you have to put things in place. I see a lot of people online and they're like, oh, I have all these campaigns set up and things like that. I have no campaigns set up for 2025 just yet, because I don't really run the business by campaigns. There are conventions that are coming up, and I hope you all were able to get in. There's IMM, which is coming up this month in New York. I applied, but I wasn't able to get in. I hope you were able to get in. It's very competitive. And there's a bunch of them coming up. And the reason why it's important to go to these is because you see the brands if you want to work with a brand, and you can go sit down and talk with a brand. And then you and the brand can decide, is this going to work for the two of us? And make sure it's always two of us. The other thing that I hope people will do is that the brands will pay you for your work rather than try just to give you uh, um, in exchange for. So in exchange for is basically come talk about my product or here's a free product. I'm not paying you, but I expect you to talk about it. And your quote unquote payment is the product or is a free trip somewhere. While that's good and well, it doesn't really pay the bills, right? My I can't pay my internet bill with, oh, here's a trip that I got from Cancun. It just doesn't work that way, right? So you need to, if you have something like that, you need to figure out how are you going to monetize that so that you can get cold hard cash because at the end of the day, that's what you need. And in the videos that are in this series, and you can find them in the channel, they tell you the different ways to monetize and how to do them. Um, a lot of people are struggling with Google because Google is not your friend. Google was never your friend. Google just basically took your information and you gave it to them freely because you wanted a free email and you wanted the free Chrome browser that you think was always your friend. But Google just wanted the information and you gave it to them willingly. because you agree to the terms and conditions for that free email. Because if you notice in your email, you get like ads, and ads are based on what's in your email. And you're like, well, how did they do that? Well, you told them that they could do that. And also, so people are not getting the trap that they used to get. A few people have closed their blogs as a result. So you cannot depend on search engine optimization only to get traffic. You do need to figure out other ways. And the videos in this series talks about that, right? You can do your email marketing. It's a really good way. It's pointless to have 100,000 followers on Instagram if you're not monetizing them. It's just totally pointless. Now, some brands will pay you heartily to appeal to your followers, but then you have to work super hard at getting your followers to open whatever you're trying to give them. You say, hey, go to this link and you can buy or look at that and the stat. Then you take the stats back and you give the stats to the brand. You say, well, I got 10,000 likes, but if you're like me, when you scroll through Instagram, you don't always read in depth what's there, right? I will make sure that if it's a trusted person, I see what they're talking about, and then I do my likes or something like that, and I go to the comments and check it out. But most people do not do that. They just click like. So when they're clicking a like, doesn't mean that they like the person's product, but that's what the brands are using because that's the only thing they have as engagement, right? Now, when you have a newsletter, if I have an offer, I can tell them how many people opened to the newsletter, i.e., saw the offer, and I can also tell them how many people clicked on the offer. And then on their end, they should be doing tracking as well on the other end because you're doing tracking on your end. So this is why I always stress get a newsletter. Same thing when you write a book and you go on Amazon. Amazon is really good to promote your book, but the problem is that you don't know who bought the book. And so because you don't know who bought the book, you can't market to them, but Amazon can. And so that's the problem that you have. So if you ever do a book, a tip is put a note in the book and say, hey, thank you so much for buying my book. If you need more information, sign up for my newsletter. And that this way you get the customer information and you know that they're responding to you because they signed up for your newsletter. The other thing too is that don't be well not don't be, but you could do advertising. You could do like a dollar a day campaign just to get people to jump on your newsletter. Just don't always depend on Google. And I'm talking about this because I see a lot of bloggers who are going out of business because they're 100% dependent on Google. You cannot have one way of people to get to your website. And if you have a newsletter, you can always bring people in, and they're your customers. You can send them an email anytime you like. And speaking of newsletter, I am going to start a newsletter for this group. I'm going to put a link somewhere in this. If it's not in this video, it'll be somewhere on the YouTube channel. And I'll send you emails from time to time and tell you offers it because this is all free. You don't have to pay for all this information I'm giving you on this YouTube channel. And it's because I believe this is kind of my way of giving back, I guess. And I believe that this will actually now and true transparency, the more you watch the videos, this channel is not monetized at the moment, but the more you watch the videos, the more watch hours or whatever, and then eventually get monetized, but it's not monetized. So, excuse me, like some bloggers, I'm working for free right now. But it doesn't cost you, and you don't have to pay anything to watch this video except your time. So you sit in, and the information you're getting is actually really good information. It's information that I've used in my own business, it's information that I've figured out over 20 something years running a blog. Um, so look at the information, watch it in stride, pause, share it, things like that. And if there's a topic that you specifically want me to talk about, put it in the comments and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe. This is Kerwin with Travel Blogger 101. Happy New Year. And I hope you have a prosperous new year. But remember, you have to plan so you can make money. It's not just going to come like that. Okay? Talk to you soon.